I am the host. Hey, Ryan.
Hey, Dr. Lamb.
How are you?
I'm all right. How are you, sir?
I'm excited to be here. I truly am. I hope you are. All right, let me pull this up. There we go. So, what are you doing this summer?
I'm just working on this. I mean, I coach basketball, so we'll have one basketball camp. But
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wonder if you were going to be doing any basketball camping.
yeah, we got
Brian,
one. That's it.
Brian's basketball man too.
I saw that on the. I noticed that.
Yeah, he is he at Sanderson or Enlow?
Sanderson.
Anderson, yeah. I was thinking about Enlow for some reason, but yeah, he was at Sanderson, and so I don't know if Vance is going to be with us or not. Hanner, he got the football job at East Davidson,
Did
so
he really?
y'all, and so I think everybody kind of got off track because of athletics, but that's okay. We'll get back on track. That's not a problem. There we go. All right. Let me look at this. All right. I can help you. Yeah, we're getting ready. We're waiting on Ryan's with me. We're waiting on a couple more. Oh no, I don't have her. Let's see. Get that out of the way. Let's see what I've got. Oh, ooh. Okay. All right. One of these things is recording. So, what camps? Where are you going to do your camps this summer?
We'll be going to North Carolina. Actually, we'll be going to my old school, and my parents have a rental house there, so I usually take my boys to. We went last summer and the summer before. We go down there and stay there, and it doesn't cost much money, so it's nice.
So, you're talking about South Carolina?
Highlands, North Carolina.
Oh, you're going to North Carolina. Where at?
Highlands.
In Highlands. Oh, yeah, yeah. And so that's out Henderson County going toward Brevard.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll play Brevard this summer. We typically will play some of the old schools, and I know all those guys from the area, so they just come and
Yeah.
play, and it's cheap.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What is it? Cades Cove's out that way.
Yeah, Cades Cove is it's almost to Tennessee, or it might even be in Tennessee, but it's in between the two.
Yeah. 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 And you got all that there. There's my doggy. All right. So yeah. We used to go to Flat Rock a good bit, which is a good bit further east. That's before you get to Hendersonville.
Yeah, East Flat Rock is where East Henderson High School is, and
Yeah.
one of my former players is coaching there now. So
Yeah. Yeah. And I've just hired a young man who just finished our doctoral program, John Shepard. He's principal at North Henderson.
Oh, really?
And at the high school, John Shepard.
Mm-hmm.
But East Henderson, I've known a lot of people and had a lot of interns there. I was just thinking about fishing up through there. And actually, one of my fraternity brothers is from Tuxedo, Zirconia.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a neat place up there. All right, I see Brian's with us. Hey, Brian, how are you? Can you hear me yet, Brian?
I can. Thank you.
Right. We were just talking about the western part of the state. And so what you got going on with basketball this summer, Brian?
Oh, I just got out of a meet and greet with all of our incoming freshman parents. Standing outside in 95 degrees, shaking hands.
Kissing babies.
Yeah.
Living the dream.
So no, we got practice about every day, except for two different weeks out the year where we have dead periods. So pretty busy, but lucky to be doing it.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I don't know if anybody else is going to join us tonight. I've got 7:59, and I'm going to go ahead and let me move that one out of the way. So everybody needs to be working on the skip this summer during this now 9.5-week session or 9-week session, since this was the first week and it's almost gone. So there is no template for the skip. You can use similar to you've done in the past. So if you look at what Heather did here, and I will send this. She just did the same thing that we did on the others, and you can do the same with her. You just do a title page, do an abstract, which tells you what you're doing it for. That's pretty much a copy and paste. Here are the directions. And so, just follow the prompts here. The big thing is the purpose of the needs assessment is to determine gaps in communication between the school and parents or other stakeholders. The biggest mistake that you can make is getting too far afield here. Make this thing as simple as you can. You're just looking for gaps in communication. That's the purpose of your needs assessment. Don't be trying to needs assess why your test scores are bad. No, just gaps in communication between the school and the stakeholders. That's all you're doing. So you start with the background description, the setting, a clear statement with the purpose of needs assessment. We're doing this to determine gaps in communication. A list of participants, analysis of the finding, a set of recommendations that identifies avenues of communication that will be established, and recommendations that include both short and long-term objectives. All right. So you come up with short-term things to work on communication are usually media-based. We're going to use Twitter. We're going to use Instagram. We're going to use, those kinds of things, social media, to connect with our parents, or maybe we're having meetings with the wrong. Try to figure out, in the short term, you're trying to fix things and hook parents and get them and communicate with them through some form of social media. Long term, you're trying to have some sort of event like family math night or family reading night or something where you help them help their child. So that's the difference. People ask me all the time, what's the difference in short and long? It's not the same thing in different time frames. Short term, what you're trying to do is hook them. is find a better way to communicate with them using social media. Long term, once you've got them hooked and they will come to school and you can communicate with them, you want to do something where you help them help their child. That's what you're trying to do, is educate the parent in the long run.
Sorry. So what would like Remind be considered? Would something like Remind be considered a short term or a long term or both?
That would be short term. Instagram, Facebook, all that's short term. That's all short term goals. Short term is something you can establish right now. Long term is a bigger long term, kind of like family math night, that you got to plan and advertise and get people on the program. And something that goes on every year kind of thing. You know, you guys, high school, you know, the best one of these I've ever seen was at Northwest Guilford. Ralph's up there, Ralph Kitley. And I had 6 interns at one time, and I've had a dozen there. I had, for like 6 years in a row, I had at least one there. And they did a job fair with no bond. But here's what they did. At every one of the desks, they had all these occupations. And at each of these tables, they had what advanced courses you needed to take in high school, what college degree you needed to have in order to, and how much that job paid. And they brought freshmen and their parents in and educated the parents on this. Wasn't any wonder that within a year or two after we started this in 2010, 9 going on 10 years ago, within a year they had the highest percentage of students taking advanced courses in Guilford County. And it wasn't but 2 years after that they had the highest percentage in the state. Because they educated, let us help you help your child. They educated parents. Parents came in, students, they saw what was going on. They saw what advanced courses, and they got involved with their kid's schedule. They didn't just let their kid fill it out anymore. Hey, you need to take that advanced, this class, that class. I've also seen family EOC night where you have them in high school and you work with parents, you know, to get them to understand this is what your child needs to do to pass this test. Family reading night in elementary school. The long term, what you're trying to do, short term, you're trying to hook them. You're trying to start communicating with them. You know, long term, you're trying to do something with that parent that will have an impact on their student. Help us help you help your child, and that's the whole idea here. And then camp 2, you look at the teacher working condition survey at the school leadership and make any recommendations that you'd like to make as well to the school improvement team about what could be done to help in terms of school leadership. Then in 2, you just identify what you're going to need short term for the short term and long term goals, and also what you're going to need for the recommended school leadership. See, you've got 3 types of recommendations coming out of 1. You've got short and long term coming out of prompt 1. You've got recommendations to your school improvement team about school leadership coming out in prompt 2. So there's 3 different types of recommendations here. And then you should have 3 different sources for the resources it's going to take for all 3 of these. Now, usually there's not much resources needed for the school leadership recommendations, but there could be. But those are based on what the teacher working condition survey tells you. So make sure that you identify both the people, that's human, and physical, that's the money, and I'd like to see dollar signs. It's going to take to run these things, both your short and long term, any recommendations that you have for school improvement on school leadership. Task 3, you do a marketing plan. I want to see it in the graphic organizer. I'm going to send you 2 things, or I have 2 things for you. Both of you should be in my clinical shell. If you're not, I'll make sure in just a few minutes that you are. I checked earlier this week. You should, under my courses, have my clinical shell where you can upload all the things that you need to for me this summer and request comments on any of the tasks that you have. I also have some documents there. One of the documents I have there is the graphic organizer example. I want the summary of your marketing plan in a graphic organizer, and then you just do 9 competencies that you didn't do in the OMA. You did 12 in the OMA. You got 9 more to do here. And you know how to write your competencies. You can look at any of the other templates on how to write those. And so, let me pull this up. Graphic organizer example. Use this graphic organizer to summarize your marketing plan, and if you do, you'll know that you have everything that you need in it. It's the same one we always use. Specific activity, short-term goal, we're going to establish a Facebook account. Long-term goal, we're going to have family math night. Recommendations to improve leadership is to hold more principal coffee clubs with parents on Friday morning. Okay, what's it going to take? Well, it's going to take a coffee fund for that one. We're going to have to feed the parents if they come. That's what it's going to take. And short term, we're going to have to pay for whatever, to get a Facebook account and a link to our website. We'll have to pay a developer to do that, or we may have a person on staff that can do that, that can do those kinds of things. Who's going to be responsible? That's what we're talking about. The resources needed, money and people. So resources, that's kind of your financial column, person's responsible, and then your finance and people column is resources. Formative assessment is not checking it halfway through. Formative assessment, as you know, is going and checking on the adults and making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then your goal, we want 85% participation by parents. I mean, whatever your goal is, and it's now at 50, so an indicator of success might be 60. People ask me all the time, what's the difference between goal and indicator of success? Goal is where you want to be eventually. Indicator of success is if we make this much gain this year, that would be successful. If our goal is 85 and we're at 50, we're not a failure if we don't make 85 the first year from 50. If we make 55 or 60, we've done well in terms of percentage. We're talking about percentage of parents that are involved with the school. You're not going to go from 50 to 85 in 1 year. If you pick up 5 to 10%, that would be a good indicator of success. One of the things that I really hate to see in schools, and we've done it forever, is our goal is 100%, and basically what we tell teachers is, and school people, anything short of perfection is failure. That's not true. Or we're going to make, where our reading scores are at 50, we're going to be at 85 this year, and if we don't, and we went from 50 to 55, that's a failure. No, that's one standard deviation of growth. That's really good. Going from 50 to 55 in 1 year without cheating is really good. But we're unrealistic. When we tell the public, oh, we can make all that up in 1 year. No, you can't. You can if you cheat, but that's the only way. So what I look for in these is the relationship between the goal and the indicator of success. If the goal is 85 and we're at 50, then the indicator of success, we're going to make 5 points this year. We're going to be at 55. That's what you're looking for here. Something that's realistic. But the skip is really fast and easy. Once you identify your goals, and you just find out what's going to take to pull them off, write it up in your marketing plan, and you're right into your competencies. This is not hard. So if you let me go to my shell right quick and make sure that y'all are there. Let me close that one. No, don't say.
I know I'm in it for sure.
Okay. All right. All right. So let me sign back in. It logged me out as it always does when I sign into Zoom.
While you're doing that, we're to do the cap as well, right?
No, you only have to do the skip this summer if you're 604. You can do the cap when you're in 605 because the SOP, if you remember, the SOP doesn't take but about, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours to do it because it's just a copy and paste from the first 5. And I have a template for you for that one of where to go to find it.
Dr. Sanders talked about us doing the cap, and I think
I know that's ambitious, but think about this. You've got 16 weeks this fall to knock out the four of the cap and then put the SOP together where we've only got 9 now this summer to do all the skip. If you can get it knocked out, I'll come back online with you and I'll cover the cap if you can get it knocked out. But let's focus on getting this one.
Yeah. I just didn't know if that was.
And you can start it. The problem with starting the cap in the summertime is there's nobody there to interview to do your qualitative piece.
Yeah.
And I, although I'm a quantitative person, I really don't like to see a cap where you haven't done the qualitative work. And I'll give you an example why. Every time I see you've got 5 required areas for your cap from the teacher working conditions survey: time, facilities, resources, school leadership, and teacher leadership empowerment. Those are the 5 required areas that you have to analyze. Now, you can do more of the 12 areas, but those 5 are required. It never fails that under time, teachers report they don't have enough planning time. And when you do the needs assessment, basically you find the lowest item in those 5 areas, 1 or 2 items, you resend those in a Survey Monkey or a Google Doc, and you say, are these 5 things really the 5 lowest things from these areas on the teacher working conditions survey, or were you just mad at the principal that day? And when they come back and confirm that, yes, those are the lowest things, yes, we do not have enough planning time, the first thing everybody thinks to do is we got to add more planning time to the schedule. Well, that blows your master schedule out of the water because then it blows up your class sizes. But if you went out and did your qualitative work, which is when you go out and say, here's a set of recommendations, here's a set of things that you've told us are bad in school. Here's a set of recommendations our CAP team has come up with. These are some things. What do you think about these recommendations? What do you think would fix these problems? And what you find out is on that time thing about planning time is 95% of the time the teachers will tell you, oh, I have plenty of planning time on the schedule. but I never get to take it because I'm always covering classes. Gotcha. So the fix for that is different than putting more planning time in. You can put more in all you want to, but they don't get any more. The fix for that is to hire substitutes. That way teachers get to take their planning. That's the piece that you miss in the summertime if there's nobody there to do interviews and observations with. Then you can't ask them for feedback on your recommendations. You can't ask them for feedback on what they think will fix the problem. And a lot of times, that's the most valuable thing that you get. Everybody knows it's a problem, but what are we going to do to fix it? And that's the piece that you miss in the summer. If you don't start with the cap, the first thing, you miss that. There's nobody there to ask. Everybody's gone home.
Yeah, I just feel, I can't remember. I could be wrong, but I felt like it was communicated on Tuesday that we were to do both.
No, y'all are in 604. My expectation is only that you do the one. I take care of that the summer piece of this. So no, we're not gonna. If you, as far as you can go, you go. You finish the skip and you go into the cap. That'll make me happy, because in your shell, and I'm gonna double check that both of you are in my shell. I know you are because I put you there earlier this week. And so you should have the shell that looks like this. It says MELS Clinical Internship. And you can put your individual task in from the skip. Let me turn this on. Let's see. Skip task for review. So you can do those right there. You can upload them, and I'll give you a review. And then when you get done with them, I've got Skip evaluation Dropbox. I turned everything else off for y'all this summer, so it wouldn't be in your way. Now I can turn the cap back on for you.
No, I'm.
I don't.
I think you're right. It would be hard to do it. I just didn't know if Dr. Sanders was expecting us to, and that was part of our grade.
No. I'm only. She's just doing the class part. I'm doing this part. I'm not expecting you to do that at all. And so, let's see. What did I do?
Yeah, because I know she made the peer reviews as part of our grade. So
yeah, and so that's good. But no, we're not going to. Let's see. See here is our problem. So when we go here. See, task 2, this component of the CAP will require the candidate to be a participant observer in the selected school with the deliberate purpose of gathering qualitative data by observations, interviews of existing staff. The candidate will describe the school setting, community setting, all those kinds of things. So what you basically do is you take them the recommendations that you made from task 1 and ask them, what do you think about these? What do you think will fix it? It's really hard to do this once school's out.
Yeah.
See. And so, but if you can get there before school's out, you go. I'll turn the drop boxes right back on for you.
I don't foresee that on my end happening. So.
Okay. All righty. So I've got these are available for you to skip. Everything else I've turned off so it won't be in your way.
Okay.
Templates. Let's see. Show link. I'm gonna turn templates back on for you. And so under templates, come on. Let's see what I've got here. Yeah, the SIOP final evidence template. What I was referring to is you'll have plenty of time in the fall to do the CAP, because when you get to the SIOP, all you have to do, and of course, all I had to do to build a pyramid is move a few rocks. But all you have to do is you come here, and I tell you exactly in red where you can find everything they're asking you for. You just copy and paste it.
Okay.
I mean, so I'm serious, this is just a few minutes. And if you want, again, you'll see there's the standard graphic organizer that we use on all plans. You really need to make sure that you do that. And so, templates. So what I'm going to make sure under templates, which you have access to, I'm actually going to put that skip example that for Heather. Let's see. I'll put that in for you. You can kind of use it as a guide this summer. Skip. So I'm going to give you that skip example. Well, anyway, I'll email you those if you take them in my box. We're having problems uploading things, but I'm going to let me do that while I'm thinking about it. Come on. So I'm going to do the graphic organizer example, and I'm going to do the example of the skip. I'll just email you those so you'll have them. EFG, graphic organizer example. And then I'm going to do the skip. And let's see if I've got any other goodies here that I would like, that I'd like for you to have. Let's see. Download documents. Let's look at this one. There you go. There's here's a condensed version of the skip task and prompts, where it's all just one place. Here's an example for you, and here's the graphic organizer. So if you have between those three things, you should be golden this summer. Again, if you can knock out the skip, I'll be a happy person. If you want to go on to the cap and be that industrious, you go. But no, for my part, I only want to see this. But so that'll do that. Now, how often do we need to meet this summer? We can meet earlier, we can meet later, we can meet Saturday morning, whatever you. I mean, how much do you need for me to go over this? How often do you need to meet? Do you need to meet more?
Seems pretty straightforward.
This is the shortest one by far. I mean, you can knock this out like 20 pages. This is not very long at all. It's the shortest one. And it's very straightforward. I mean, I'll just be on call if you need me.
Yeah.
I'm always around, and I'll Zoom with you at any time. I mean, I don't mind coming on. I'll come online with you every week, but I'd rather you spend your time working rather than listen to me on Zoom.
I'm personally comfortable with that.
Yeah, I don't know that a lot more value than I could add. I mean, you're going to have to deal with Dr. Sanders and her class. And that's a lot of work, I know. She gives you a lot of work. So I don't want to burden you down with any more than I have to in terms of meetings or work. Because she'll do enough for both of us.
Perfect.
So, seriously, she does enough for both of us. So I'm going to do as little as I can because I know you're going to need to spend your time with her. So if you need me again, all you got to do is holler. We can Zoom. Thursday nights are good for me anytime, from 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, anytime in there. Thursday nights I'm available. I'm usually available on Saturday mornings except for the weekends that I have class. I do have weekend class, 3 weekends during every semester. I teach doctoral classes in organizational leadership, and actually I'm over in EDCI this summer doing a add-on licensure program for their doctorals that are all but dissertation, and some of them have already completed their doctorate. And so Dr. Laws from LS and I do that for them. It's a 12-hour block. We do it on weekends. But some Saturday mornings I'm available. So
Okay.
Some people like to do Saturdays, some people like to do Thursdays, but I'm available whenever. That's the point.
Okay.
So I'll send this to y'all now, and we should be good. And look at that. We made it we finished 5 minutes early.
The only thing, and sorry, Ryan, to keep us there, just wanted to you talked about looking at our stuff on TaskStream and making sure everything's good in terms of the portfolio and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to schedule a time with you.
Right. You just send me a time. That's what I was talking about.
Okay.
That's kind of a one-on-one thing.
Yeah, correct.
So just I'm available Saturday mornings. I'm available Thursday nights. Get started on this and give me a shout, and we could meet next Thursday. But yeah, I anticipate that all of you will give me a shout at some point this summer. And once you get this thing launched, the skip, and then we'll look at your portfolio going forward.
Okay.
But give this thing a week, till at least next Thursday to get this thing up and going. And
Sounds
then
good.
give me a shout, and if it's next Thursday at 7 or whatever, I'll be glad to come online with you, and we'll look at your portfolio.
Okay.
All right. We won't need the group meet again. No, we're good.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Dr. Lamb.
Thank you. I appreciate you both. Brian, have a good time in the West this summer. Brian, keep those parents straight. So I'm always available again. Pick a time, get in touch with me, and I'll meet with you individually and we'll look at your portfolio.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Y'all
Thank
have
you.
a good summer. I'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.